You need to go ahead and go live. If you can hear me.
We're live. We're live.
I can't hear you, so you're just going to have to keep going. Yes. You can if you want. This is probably people who live in the area who might want more information.
Okay.
But yeah, you can sign up. Yeah. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Sewer. Oh yeah, Mikhail. Senator Gaskell's here. So you got a bunch of people. So it's pretty full. All they say is the car is oh, the team of the high school kid. That's all I think he was. No, they don't say the car on the scene. No, I don't know. I didn't follow very closely. Yeah, I followed it, and I wonder why they passed the car. Next time you talk to somebody, ask me to drive.
I'll say that for you. She's coming. Is that okay?
I don't care. Okay. Like I'm trying to set up. That's all I can focus on. Okay. She's called me like I can't deal with this. If people can't be on time, it's not my problem. Why this is so
You're in the very front row, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. See, I do know some people up in Alexandria.
Got to put the back in the front row, sir. Where'd you go camping at, Darren? Where'd you go camping at? You went camping with not yet. Okay.
Everybody, get started. This all came about when Bethany, about 3 weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago, it came up with a vote, one of the county council to vote on a wastewater utility district for Monroe Township. She luckily got enough votes to postpone the vote until next month because she wanted to talk to her constituents, you guys. She's in charge of District 1, which is Monroe Township. So that's why I'm trying to get everybody together so we can discuss what's going on so she can vote the proper way that you guys want her to vote.
My turn?
Yep, your turn.
All right, so this is an unofficial meeting. Once, so I got a resolution emailed to me on a Friday, and they wanted the council to pass it on a Tuesday, so I had about 2.5 business days to look into it. It was the first that I had heard of the regional utility district that they're proposing, and so it was a 1-page resolution, and that's all the information I was given. And so I started asking questions and making phone calls, and the more people I talked to, the more unanswered questions that I had. And so we were able to get a table for the next meeting so that I know how to vote on the resolution. So the resolution is just saying that the council would support the idea of a regional utility district for unincorporated Monroe Township. And then that would be part of a petition to IDEM to create the regional utility district. And so after the council would give support, there'd be this lengthy process that takes about a year before that regional utility district could be created. If that happens, there will be public hearings and there'll be proper public notice, and you should show up to those meetings to voice your concerns, because that will matter a lot more than what's said tonight. And during that meeting, the council meeting that we had, I said that I wanted to hear from my constituents that lived in unincorporated Monroe Township, people that this would affect, to help me decide if I want to support the idea of this regional utility district or not. Because once the council passes it, the council's not really going to have any more say over it, and I want to make sure that I'm representing the people that live here and that are going to be affected. And so I was expecting to just have to start calling people randomly, cold calling people. And John reached out the next morning and suggested that we try to get everybody together in one room to have one big conversation and see what people's thoughts are on a regional utility district and if there are any other options. So do you want to talk about
There are
what
other
you guys are
options.
having, or?
There are other options out there. There's 5 different things that can be done. I'm not sure if y'all ever like it. I did found violations in Pike Creek of sewer debris being put into Pike Creek. So that's what started this whole issue. That is in 2022. They came forward and said, this is what you got to do. It was not, you have to start a regional waste district. It was not that. You have to follow this law, Indiana code, and this is what you have to do. Indiana code allows you 5 different things you can do. All of them require payment, a monthly payment. Regional waste district is going to be multi-million-dollar project. You can hook into the city, not necessarily make it city limits, just sewer open like Arestas has. Arestas currently has sewer over there from Alexandria. You would not be in the city. So I wanted to open it up to all avenues, not just, I'm glad she postponed it. Because if they would have signed this in, they could have ran with it and went. In a year, we're just getting it forced down our throats. And I don't think it's anything that everybody wants. Nobody's going to be happy. But we need to get together and find out why or what we can do to make it better for all of us.
The county's kicked the can down the road for many years.
Yes.
They've known about it.
Yes. You and I have grown up the two editions together. It's been this problem since I was born in 74.
Everybody in Scott's Addition's called the county, come out and address it, and it's not our issue, is what we've been told.
Have they got a cost estimate for a home?
Yes, they're not into that stage yet. They're basically wanting them to sign a draft stating that they support it so they can follow through with contacting IDEM and creating a plan. It could be a couple years down the road before they even know a true figure. They might be able to give you a roundabout.
Is there money available for a plan, for hiring an engineering company to develop plans?
I
So
think,
the estimate can be,
I
so
think,
we can see something here?
yeah.
Okay, so the council used some of the ARPA funding to fund a study for the whole county on stormwater to see where issues were that needed to be addressed. And so that's what's brought this issue to light, according to the county. And I have not seen the preliminary engineering report that they came up with. I've asked for it, and it's not been given to me. And that was one of the reasons that we delayed, we were able to table the resolution, because the resolution said the council has reviewed this preliminary engineering report, and we haven't. And so that wouldn't have been responsible of us to put our name on the document that says we reviewed something that we haven't reviewed. And then the other point with that is that I believe the goal of creating this regional utility district is that there would be certain grants available for regional utility districts that would not be available to a county or a city. And so then it would open up other revenues and funding to be able to install the sewer lines.
Has the county put any money back to this project? What fine are they paying? How much are they paying the fine?
$1,700.
A month?
No, I think it's a one-time fine until, now if they violate the time extension they give,
Right?
then they have to pay another fine. It's not been determined in the report. On the page, I've got all the IDEM reports, everything that I requested through the Public Information Act. I've got, well, I believe I've got it all. But it was $1,700 is what they paid them, via check. It was paid.
You mean the taxpayers pay?
Yes, one-time fee. It was $1,700.
And I believe the reason that the county has not been fined in addition to that is because they've been working on this study. So they've been, in the process of coming up with a solution.
As long as they stay in line with what item is telling them needs to happen and stay in schedule with it, there won't be another fine.
Are they planning, just some questions that you may want to find out, stormwater? Is this going to be involved in the project?
That's one of the questions I had also. It's going to be two totally separate systems. They have to be separated now. A lot of us know that. And the system that's out there now was designed for stormwater, and now it's failing. They're going to have to go through and replace both systems, not just one.
And then if we're going to send it to the city, why wouldn't we get the city water? Because there's not going to be a fair way to meter the usage.
And I discussed that 2 or 3 years ago
Yeah.
with some city officials, and the biggest thing then at that time was money-wise. There are certain rules that they have to put in street lights, water, sewage, everything. They didn't have money for a whole project like that.
Well, I mean,
But that was 3 or 4
we're
years
all
ago.
aware that it is an issue and that it's going to be done, but if we're going to pay for it, it's going to be done right.
Yeah.
I will say that the city of Elwood has taken city sewer outside of Elwood proper. And they did not run city water along with it. They did just sewer.
Okay.
And then it was a flat rate every month. It was about $95 a month, I believe. And it didn't matter if it was one person in the house or a family of 8, because it wasn't based on the water usage.
Right.
And so there is a way that other cities have run sewer outside without annexing and without running water lines, just doing the sewer lines. It was just a flat rate that they charge.
Well, my 70-year-old mother who lives in a 2-story, 2-bath house by herself is going to pay the same amount as John across the street who has 12 people in a 2-bedroom.
Right.
Before that sewer can come to Alexandria, that area needs to agree with
They need to agree to what?
that. Before that sewage comes to Alexandria, that the residents there need to agree to be annexed.
Is that a question, or do you believe they should?
That's a statement.
Okay.
I believe the city can't afford to annex this, is what I've heard.
Well, the only thing that will hold up annexing will be all the sewer and water and storm you're talking about. And once that's in place, it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
You also got a lot of low-lying areas in those neighborhoods and buildings.
Yes,
Ms. Howard, you said that Elwood ran their sewage outside of the city limits. Do they also annex that area, or do they just provide sewage?
they just provided sewage.
Hey, Bethany, when they ask, can you repeat their question?
Okay, the question was if when Elwood ran the sewer lines outside of Elwood proper, if they annexed, and no, they did not. Yes,
A lot of towns run city sewer, but not city water to them, and they charge a flat rate. I don't know the flat rate, but I'm a plumber, and it's a very common thing.
I know, I think currently, Alexandria has a great investment, they're doing that as well. Granted, the rest of their own town limits.
Right.
But it's a flat fee, flat user fee.
so does anybody in the room know if there have been conversations between the county and the city of Alexandria to explore that option? Anyone willing to say one way or the other?
I believe so.
of Alexandria exploring the option to expand the sewer, the Alexandria city sewer to the Phillips and Scott's additions.
Yes. There has. And it's been in 2023 that there has.
Okay.
If nobody wants to take the responsibility for it, they keep passing it on to each other and they're pushing it to somebody else. That's the main problem I ran into when I went to the drainage board. They pass it to the highway department, the highway passes it to the county passes it off to Alexandria. Nobody wants to open this can of worms because it's gonna get bad.
Can Alexandria handle the extra volume?
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor, can Alexandria handle the extra volume?
We can, but there's certain things that we need to do to be able to handle it better. Like, we have a few stormwater projects that we need to get complete, and hopefully the county will work with us on both of those. You know, I'm not expecting the county to pay for that, but help work with us on getting funding to pay for that. So, yeah, we can.
I also had a question, on exemptions, for people that do have legal legitimate systems. I know that there's some town you hear about the 300-foot rule. There is an exemption that can be written at the beginning to exempt somebody for 10 years, then 5 years, and another 5 years, for a legal legitimate system. It's up to you to prove that it's a legal system. So you have to pay for it, report, and everything else.
Mine's on the county record.
Yeah,
I paid $15,000 to get mine.
That's
I
not
bought one lot.
Yeah.
It's up to code now. I do what neighbors will to get mine put in.
there's been a lot of people in Scott's Edition dump a lot of money in these.
I won't pay
I
for
put
it.
30,000 in mine,
Right.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my biggest question is there gonna be an exemption possible, whichever way we go?
And I voiced some questions at the last council meeting and didn't get any solid answers, but, yeah, if a sewer line or water line is run within 300 feet of the front door of your home, you can be forced to hook up to it.
Correct.
When Elwood expanded their city sewer outside city limits, they had a process for exemptions.
Yes.
And that seemed to work well for that neighborhood, from what I've been told. We're still too early in the process to be able to answer questions like that. However, if IDEM were to create its regional utility district, it would be its own entity, and it would have a board that makes all of those policy decisions and sets utility rates and all of those things. And it would be an appointed board
Yeah.
with 5 members.
From the
And they would be
commissioners.
appointed, one from the commissioners, one from the county council, one from the health department, one from the Monroe Township trustee, and one from the city of Alexandria.
But that could change every 4 years, so we're not gonna know who's doing it every 4 years.
And so that board, once it would be created, would be would have the decision-making power to decide, you know, if there's going to be exemptions. That board has a lot of powers, including eminent domain, which is one of the things that kind of sent up a red flag for me, like, I want to know more about this project before I support it.
They also set rates.
And separate it.
Is it true that this could incorporate all of Monroe Township? We've heard that is a possibility. Is that true?
Okay, so the way the resolution is written that they wanted us to support says unincorporated Monroe Township, which is the entire township outside of city limits. And so it could eventually affect everyone. And I believe they're gonna start with the Scott and Phillips edition because there's this item violation that the county has to address. And needs to address for human health and safety concerns. However, they want this regional utility district to become a self-sustaining utility. And so I believe they want to start with those neighborhoods and then expand on from there, looking at the other old neighborhoods that are outside city limits but nearby, and then eventually expanding to other homes. When I spoke with the health department a couple weeks ago, she said that long-term, it would be ideal to get every home in Monroe Township that is not on a up-to-date finger system onto this regional utility district sewer line. after the council meeting, she sent an email to the whole council saying, I'm sorry if I was misunderstood, that's not what I meant. And so I could have misunderstood her, and that maybe that's not what she intends to do, but by creating this regional utility district, someone in the future could do that.
Is there any other examples of the county of a regional utility district that's been set out, its successes, its failures, how it's going forward?
There is one in Fall Creek. They made a regional utility district. They have their own wastewater treatment for Fall Creek. And I've heard that it's doing well for Fall Creek, but I feel like Fall Creek and Monroe Township at this point in time are very different from each other. There's a lot of growth in Fall Creek Township. And so when people are building outside of city limits, they can easily hook into that regional utility district.
So that kind of leads to my second question, I'm sorry. Will it be self-sustaining? Will money come from taxes from the city, from the county, from the township? How is this all going to be supported and maintained for this?
So it's been proposed, like the way it's proposed to me, is that it would initially be funded through grant money. So they're banking on getting grant money. And then after they have that grant money completed the first projects, it would become self-sustaining by user fees. Yes.
I guess my question is, if it's only affecting these two areas, are we going to position this regional facility next to them? Is that what we're going to do? Or have they talked about where we're going to put this plan at?
No, I don't know.
That's probably a study that none of us have seen yet.
Do you know if it's gonna be a pressurized main system, so where everyone would have to put lift stations in, or is it gonna be a gravity fed?
Like I said, there's supposed to be a study done over the past year.
The lift station one could add,
Yeah. But those pumps last approximately 15 years.
yeah, and you could put a septic in for
It's
sure.
about $25,000 for every time you pump replaced.
Yeah, there's systems down by Carmel and stuff like that end up in, by Kokomo, they have a round thing that like you done for something that's grinder pump, then pumps out to wherever and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's one of those things that people need to know, because grinder pumps are about $2,500 to $3,500 a pop if something happens to someone of those, you're on the hook to fix it.
I also wanted to ask, is there anybody in this room that's been contacted by Madison County about a study that's been done in the last year on septic systems? Because supposedly there's a study done on our areas, and it's completed, and it showed that this is what we need. That's why I kind of called this meeting. You know, I think we're trying to get something cranking on our throats without them providing the data that they're supposed to have. That's what I've got a problem with.
So let me,
We're being told that they're going to provide it, but
Yeah.
after we pledge our support.
Yeah.
And that's what made me uncomfortable, and I wanted to talk to more people before.
So
we
let
get
me-
to that point.
let me ask you this, Bethany. So this started in 2022, and then it went to the county engineer and it went to the commissioners. The commissioners have approved this by something that the county engineer has put in front of them. Has she shared with you those same documents that they passed in their commissioners meetings to the council, so you know where everybody's at?
No. So the resolution that was given to the council that they wanted us, our support on, was almost word for word identical to a resolution that the commissioners passed on March 4th. And so, Councilwoman North and I asked for those documents at the last meeting, and then the next day, we got an email that the county engineer was going to be on vacation for a while, or when she got back from vacation, her team would work on it, and they would get it to us sometime. And I sent her an email back, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically, well, the commissioners unanimously passed a resolution on March 4th that said they read these documents, so send me what you gave them. You shouldn't need time to work on it.
So how did you learn that the county, knowing that they've known about this since 2022, has zero money in the county line budget for this? How did you learn that there's $0 in there?
I believe that's when I spoke with the surveyor's office. But then John looked at his property taxes and he's not currently paying
Correct.
for that drain.
But other county people are paying into that, so there should be some money in that line item.
Are other county people paying into it?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
Well, there's several different drain taxes. There's ditch taxes, everything, so
Right, I mean,
it's
I think
according
we
to how
pay
the
for
drain
whatever
tax is
that's
set up. And on ours, it shows $0.00 coming out of our spring and our fall taxes.
If everybody's the
for
same.
drain fee.
Yeah, if everybody's taxes look the same.
Yeah.
So I would look at your taxes.
I checked two places, one in Scotts Addition and my own personal, and neither one of those had it on there for the last 3 years. Because we kept hearing, I don't know if you guys have heard it, you know, called out Rockland County, we don't have the money to fix it. I know my neighbors heard it probably 10 times over the last 8 years.
How do we find out about the public meetings where, as this develops, we can stay in tune?
Just check out my basement.
So this is not an official meeting, and that's why it was not public notice. And so when there was a public hearing on my personal property, I received a certified letter in the mail a year or two ago. I mean, it wasn't on drainage, it was on something else, but I believe that it would be in the newspaper, and I believe you would also get a letter certified in the mail that affects your home. So I think everyone in unincorporated Monroe Township would get a certified letter in the mail about the public hearing.
So we're 11 days away from the county council meeting. How much information have you received from the county or the county engineer for this project, knowing we are 11 days out?
0.
And how
I
many?
received a lot of information from John.
And so last month when we had the meeting, how many days notice were you given the information so that you could prepare for that meeting last month?
I was given the one-page resolution 2.5 business days before the meeting.
You need to show up at commissioner meetings and council meetings, I'm just saying.
Kelly?
Who did the study? Who did they hire to do the study? Was it Commonwealth?
Yes,
So it was Commonwealth who did the study?
yes.
Okay, so if you notice in the document that you have, that Brady is signing from Commonwealth that they did the study. Have anybody contacted Brady from Commonwealth?
No,
Okay,
that's a very good point.
I think they need, I would suggest that somebody contact Brady from Commonwealth, say, hey, can you get us the study? The individuals that live in these neighborhoods, they would like to see that study.
Yeah, because I've never had anybody contact me with phone, address, email, come visit, you know, I'm welcome, you know, I'm gonna.
I just noticed that on documents that you put online. And I know, and I've seen Brady from Commonwealth, so if they did the study, that should be available to anybody who's a resident, if they did the study on it. Just a comment.
Mayor, would you like to say anything, or, oh, you got a question?
Number 3, on the first question here, could you answer that for me?
What evidence has been collected to show that this is a township-wide problem and not just a few failed systems? Are you making these decisions based on the one violation from Ida?
I don't completely know the answer to that, but I know the health department did tell me that there's a lot of homes in the township that are older homes, after systems that were put in before the Clean Water Act in the 1970s. However, I think that this is mostly addressing the IDEM issue. And that the regional utility district, that they're hoping that it would be the cheapest option because that they could get grants for it. But I know that with the ARPA money, that they were looking at the whole county and where there were stormwater issues, like looking at where they needed more infrastructure. And they've identified Bilbrey Township as that.
Wouldn't the easy solution be one problem get fixed and no one else get affected?
I think that issue, the IDEM issue, that's been resolved. That person is no longer pumping sewage, correct?
Yes.
Because it's,
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
that was resolved.
That,
You're not sure?
That they can't avoid where the problems are or what?
I did do that, they mentioned an address in the report, and that's a general location of where they found the outflow going into Pine Creek. It could have, kind of, next to a manhole cover, and several people looking in, so that I'm not sure.
So why not have the people that's hooked into the storm sewer pulled out of it?
They come out and shoot dye in there, they shoot dye in the system, they know we should do them on.
Smoke and find out where it's at. Those people have this smoke. Why should you penalize them?
Yeah, I had to comply when I had problems. I had a wet spot.
I've lived in.
Didn't know if boys severed field tiles on the storm.
Everybody, county.
They would not let me repair that storm or that tile. I had to put in a new system. For me to put in a new system, I had to move the neighbor's well and move my well.
Right, and that's what I've been told, is that besides the fact that, it's very expensive, and maybe not everyone can afford that, but that the lots
I
are
could
so.
afford it.
I know.
I did
You
it.
could, right?
The solution was to condemn the property.
Right,
That's your alternative.
I know that.
So
And
I
they're
was
saying that a
forced to
lot
do
of people don't have the amount of land, so the lots are too small to put in proper finger systems and still be so many
I got one
distribution
lot.
wells.
And I did it, and it's by code.
County.
I believe you.
Finger system that you can put in, that only takes up so much room, it's called a bound system.
Yeah.
For a lot of the houses, that's what they would have to have, but there again, that would be
I think it's more
25, 30, but if they put in a lift station, a mount system is the way to go, in my opinion. But,
There's a mold ditch that was installed by the county 75 years ago, and there's maps of it. I've got a map of it somewhere. Is the county, this is something that we need to find out, that they haven't let you know any plans on it. Are they gonna attach to the mold ditch, use that, or are they gonna come in and redo everything? Because for them to get it out of going into the creek right now, they could put it lift in and put it to the city out of that. Some people have hooked up over the years into the stormwater. Some of them were built that way. Some of us have laterals. So if it's such a health issue that they are saying something needs to be done real quick. So to resolve that, put a lift station in back there where it's going into the creek and solve the problem. Buy us some time.
But the drain is collapsed, right? The stormwater drain?
Our district, I'm not sure, we've got roads that's actually caving in to store this.
Okay, but the health issue right now needs to be addressed. And if we get it out of the creek, then we keep Iden happy, correct?
I would think so. I don't know.
I mean, there is an endangered bat back there also, so, I mean, that bat's used to drinking that water, so are we gonna hurt that endangered bat now?
That's part of Ida's report, so I hope not.
They were gonna put in a mini reservoir out there one year, and there was an endangered bat, so that's a joke, just a joke, okay?
I think we're trying, if I came up and said. Thank you. My name is Mike Gaskell, and I'm your state senator, serve all of Madison County. And I've been following this issue a little bit, and I want to, first of all, give kudos to Bethany for calling this meeting and being transparent and informing you guys about the issue. Before I was at the state senate, I was on the county council in 2 different stints. And I have to tell you, it's been a practice of the commissioners to throw a crisis on the council's plate, something that they've known about for a long time, and demand that they make a decision with 2 or 3 days' notice. So I think kudos to you a second time for putting the brakes on and at least giving the public a chance to hear about this. So when the meeting's over, I'm going to hang around a little bit, and any of you that have any questions that you think I might be able to help get answered, from IDEM or from the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, I'm happy to go down to the State House and get meetings and try to get answers to those questions and get back with you. But where I live, I'm on Fall Creek Regional Waste District that was mentioned earlier. And we've got, people have wells, they have, the flat fee is $45 a month, which is pretty reasonable. But Fall Creek has been around for a long time, and in order to get to scale, to be able to pay for a water treatment facility, they had to go out and get more customers. We're one of those. To take a big step like that and form a regional waste district, that's a big deal. And they're not going to pay for a water treatment facility with 170 some customers.
No.
And so, my advice to you, I'm not living in this area, it's not going to affect me, it's going to affect you. But my advice would be to reach out to your county council members. In addition to your district commissioner, councilwoman, you have at-large council members, three that represent the entire county. And so you get to vote for 4 of the 7 people that are on that council. And I would reach out to them and ask them to slow this train down a little bit, because this has happened many a time where the commissioners over the last 10 or 12 years have done this to the council. And your best solution, you mentioned 5 possible solutions, and I think the citizens need to have an opportunity to hear those solutions and what they're going to cost and how it's going to affect you before they jump into something. And I'm very suspicious of a regional waste district, because it's going to get bigger, and there are going to be people all over this township that have working septic systems that are going to get sucked in to pay for that overhead. And I've talked with Mayor Nazelrode, and he's mentioned that the city is happy to try to be a part of a solution and take new customers on. And that if the regional waste district is Methodist tribe, what I think would happen is that they couldn't build a waste treatment plant quickly enough to solve the problem. So they're probably going to have to use Alexandria anyway, and Alexandria treat the waste district as one customer. And then the waste district is going to have to go out and hire people to service lift stations. They're going to have accounting people to send bills to all of you. They're going to have to recreate a lot of functions that Alexandria already has. So you don't have a lot of time, but I would encourage you all to go to county council meetings and county commissioner meetings and say, hey, slow your roll, guys. Let's make sure that whatever we do is the best solution for these residents. And I'm happy to help. It's not my call, I don't get a vote on the council or on the commissioners, but I'm sure I'm happy to get any of the information that you need from the sources of the state. Thank you for getting this done.
So the county council meets the second Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock at the county building. And then the commissioners make it very inconvenient for working class people. And they meet at 10 o'clock on the first and third Tuesdays of every month.
Yeah, how convenient.
Yes.
For workers. Do you want us all there at the 8th, on the 8th?
It'd be nice. It'll make a
Let
difference.
them see our faces and know that we want this table again.
I always welcome the public to come to the meetings. We do have public comment at the meetings, but it's not until the end of the meeting.
Right.
So you wouldn't be able to speak before we would get to vote, to table it or not. So just to be open about that.
Right.
I always encourage people to come to the meetings.
It makes a difference.
I think it does make a difference.
It makes a
And
difference.
I want to be really clear. We do have 2 other counselors here tonight, Jody Norton and Kristopher. We had 2 more counselors that were planning on coming. That's Dr. Scott Green and Jonathan Cole. And I reached out to them this morning and said, please don't come, because we wanted to be really mindful of the open door law. And if you have if you have a quorum in the room,
Right.
It could be construed as breaking the open door law. And so there are people on the council that are paying attention and are really interested in this topic. It's not just me.
That's
So
one,
I
that's
wanted
one
to
reason
point
we
that out
like
to be
treating
fair.
it.
Yeah,
Is there a resolution on the table to be voted on?
there is.
Is
Yes.
that, is that available for us to see?
It is. It's on the county website. It's kind of hard to find. But I can read it real quick and I can tell you where it's at.
I can post it if you want to tell people that.
Was the commissioner invited?
Yes, all the commissioners are personally invited. As was the health department and the county engineer.
And
And I.
I reached out to IM Monday, invited them. No reply back. I'm not sure if they got my email, it still shows as unread.
Oh, it's not on the county website. Imagine that.
And this
Because it wasn't part of the council.
Par for the course.
It wasn't part of the council packet because she sent it to us right before the meeting.
So you get it an hour before the meeting?
Is it not in our packet for this?
It is not, I don't have my council email on my phone.
Here, I have.
Do you have it? Okay. Because I say it's not on the website. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Phillip, and this is called my mom, and we live at 184 East 11th North, they call it the site.
Okay.
We moved in 2021 and started remodeling the house, and the 3 lots behind us with it. Because we like that big in the trees. I'm not used to public speaking, I'm sorry. In 2022, in our backyard, you see the sewage system comes down from one road to 1100. And then it comes through the alley also, so we get both neighborhoods into the sewer pipes right behind our neighbor's house and our house. It runs through our yard and goes to the creek. I've been speaking with the county, Joe Davis, IDEM, Julian Ryan, and Houston. I spoke with him today. I've had this ongoing for a couple of years now. It'll be 3 years this summer. Anyhow, in 2022, before 2022, when I talked to Andy today, the house that's south of us across the street, a great big house, their septic was going into the creek, and somehow someone found out, and they ended up putting in a septic system, a sewer system. Fast forward to when we moved in 2022, that pipe broke open in our backyard, and sewage was everywhere. Now, we have 2 great big unit can't handle it. I can't help it. We can't use that land since sewage has been on it. And we have our own septic system when we moved in. We have phones and everything. I do know everything that's going on because I'm the one who called the EPA and the county and IDEM contact me. And we speak a lot. So I probably know more than what you know, but not to any avail that's any good. For instance, Andy Schmidt did say if anyone needs his phone number for IDEM or Julian Ryan, I'm able to get it to you, or anyone if they have questions. But this has affected us greatly. The county actually, Joe Davis from the county, when I contacted him originally in the first borough, he came out and said, well, where does the pipe go to the creek? And I said, I don't know. It goes through someone else's property past ours, through the woods, to the creek. And
You got that.
yes, and he wanted us to send our grandchildren to find the end of it, and I said, no, we won't. That's your job. And so they fixed that temporarily in our yard. Last year, it broke again, only this time it broke 9 videos. So sewage from all the neighborhoods going all over our yard, not ours, but, so I called them again. And they tried to get us personally, pay for a tractor to come back and rip the ground out, get to that pipe and fix it. And I said, we will not. It's
That's
not our
something the county should be
responsibility.
addressing.
Yes, so they did, 6 months later, come and dig it up and fix that. And put along the right way. So in the meantime, nothing's going into our yard anymore, although it's ruined. It is still going to the creek. But I have also emails that the county was supposed to do blockage. I know that Joe Davis from the county, I don't know if anyone here is from the county.
He's with the health department.
He told us personally, if this was our yard and our property, then I would just go ahead and dig it up and concrete them off so the sewage can't come through your yard anymore.
But that's not, it wasn't designed for sewage, it's mainly stormwater. So you're not allowed to block stormwater.
Right. I then found out that there is actually sewage coming through there.
Right.
There is.
Right, I have no doubt about that.
When it was taken off, and you could see it came out in the yard.
There were 300 people before you guys bought that house, and I talked them about buying that house. I showed them pictures.
I wish you would have went to everything we have in that house. Everything.
So I have a question for you. So you've been dealing with this for 3 years. And so my question is, have you noticed that you've had any health issues, or your animals or the people around you have had any health issues? For those of you who don't know me, I am a medical person. So I'm curious, because I take care of several up here, if you've had any of those health issues.
I will not allow our dogs to go in that part of the yard. We keep them in the small fence part that was already there. But I don't know if it was out of stress or not. They really couldn't explain it, but I had a burger shop last year dealing with this.
Okay.
So
yeah.
The stress is really critical. But I do have a lot of emails and paperwork and
Documents
that are still ongoing. I know they paid $1,700, but they're still ongoing on the fine.
All right, can I read this resolution, just so everyone's on the same page about what I get to vote yes or no on in the next meeting? A resolution of the Madison County Council supporting the formation of the Madison County Regional Utility District in Monroe Township. Whereas the Madison County Council recognizes the critical need for enhanced sanitary sewage disposal and treatment in unincorporated areas of Monroe Township, Madison County, Indiana. And whereas the establishment of the Madison County Regional Utility District, hereinafter RUD, as outlined in the petition submitted to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, hereinafter IDEM, pursuant to Indiana Code 1326 et seq, will mitigate public health risks and environmental pollution by replacing outdated and failing on-site septic systems with a modern sanitary sewer collection system. And whereas the formation of the Madison County RUD will promote economic development and residential growth by providing essential wastewater infrastructure to support the community's current and future needs. And whereas the council has reviewed the preliminary engineering report and petition process detailed by Commonwealth engineers, and notes that the Madison County Board of Commissioners has already adopted a similar resolution of support for this initiative. And whereas the council values the collaborative efforts of local partners, including the Madison County Health Department, the City of Alexandria, and other stakeholders in advancing this initiative. Now therefore be it resolved by the Madison County Council that, 1, the council hereby declares its unequivocal support for the formation of the Madison County Regional Utility District as an independent political entity under Indiana Code 1326. 2, the council urges IDEM to approve the petition following the required public hearing and to issue an order establishing the Madison County RUD. And 3, the council pledges to appoint a trustee to the district's board of trustees as specified in the petition and to collaborate with all involved parties to ensure the district's success. Yes.
What law firm wrote that resolution for you?
Jeff Graham.
What, it was stamped on it. Does it say on your signing form, does it say on your signature form what the law firm is? It would be at the bottom.
I know, you only sent me the first page.
I'll send you the second.
Okay. We're just
The
looking at
second
it.
page doesn't have
It
it.
doesn't, okay.
Therefore, there's no law firm. It's like you guys created that resolution.
I'm not sure everybody understands. This is former Commissioner Kelly Gaskell who's speaking, so she's very knowledgeable in everything she's talking about.
I'm just saying, I would be very with the resolution and no law firm put their name to it, but signature page with all your names.
And I do think I think that the commissioner's resolution was taken and a couple words were changed, and we didn't have legal counsel for that month because we are in the process of hiring a new legal counsel for the county council. And so I think it was just kind of in that gap.
Do you guys have, will your attorney look at this? Sure.
Is this whole thing something that the people can vote on, or is it something that's decided up here and we don't get to vote on it or have any input in it, other than coming to the council meeting?
Okay, so if the council passes support for it, then our resolution of support will be part of the documentation for a petition to IDEM, which is at the state level. But part of that petition process is having public hearings where there would be input from the public, and that's part of the petition process. But then the state would be the one to actually create the regional utility district. So you don't get a vote, but you can make your voice heard at the public hearings. And to make your voice heard tonight is not enough, because this isn't one of the official public hearings. This is something that I wanted to do before I vote to get this process started.
We can say stuff at the public hearing, but that doesn't mean they take it into account. If they got their mind made up to do this.
Yes.
Bethany, would you agree though that, because we've gone through this with the solar here in the county, that everybody that's here ought to be emailing your council, everyone needs to, they need to hear, because like you said, the public comment is at the end of the meeting. So it's not gonna matter at that point. And I think that it's important, because we did that with the solar and just inundated the commissioners and, all those people that were listening. And once they get those emails, I would hope that the majority of them are paying attention to it. But I would definitely not wait until the meeting, the next council meeting, because it's at that point, once it's passed, it's moving forward. I mean, you can say, we can say that we're gonna have public comment, we're gonna have public hearings, but at that point, it's moving forward. So.
John?
At this point in time, I don't think you have enough information to say.
I don't think so either. That's why I tabled it, but I wanted to get input in the meantime, but I've not been given any additional information to change my mind. And the last meeting, I wasn't for it or against it. It was just I don't have enough information to put my name on it and supporting it.
Is there a date on the calendar where the council has to take action before?
No.
So there's no reason that delays.
I mean, we could just keep tabling it, I suppose. But the county engineer was pressuring us quite a bit in the last meeting that if we didn't do the resolution of support that night, that they could miss out on simply grant funding to be able to do the project. But
I agree.
right, and I mean, if it was an emergency, then I would have considered it more.
Usually have voting first. Get us the money to do it.
I'm sorry, you would have road hair out, asphalt, you just couldn't hook up to the whole pipe that's already there. They've been put in 1948, so it's going to collapse. So it would take more than just cutting in with a line and hooking into it.
Yeah, but if we resolve the health issue that they're having with that right now, that buys us time to go in and figure out how we're gonna fix all this pipe. You raise our taxes, the county buys a jet truck, we can bring it out, we fix what needs to be fixed in the neighborhood.
All done in the alley.
Those who have paid for laterals, and the county still says they're okay, which I don't even think they should be involved. Once they approved it once, they shouldn't be looking at it again.
Yeah. Roger.
So the vote is to create this council, and
the other choices, you have to either keep tabling it in order to look at the other choices. Are they already even presenting the other choices to you? Or they just say, create this commission and go forward?
So it really wouldn't be the council creating it, it's just us supporting it and asking the state to create it, and that's the only thing that's been presented to us. So at this point, I can just say, yes, I support it, or yes, I don't support it.
So how do we get those other options to the county council? I mean, like, you have a decision to make. I mean, the engineer's saying do this, and that's the only option you're giving, yes or no, to his decision. How do we go about finding other ways to fix this, other than what the engineer is putting before you?
I believe that would have to go through the commissioners, because the council is just the fiscal body.
Okay,
So we're
just go to our commissioners and get them to. Well, that's,
On a weekday at 10 a.m.
well, I was.
Well, there's no public comment.
Yeah, there's no public.
They got phones.
I'm sorry.
They got phones.
They do have phones and emails. Yes.
What point you decided that you made a date when $700 is one day? Another sign.
I don't know, because it's kind of like, we're not being kind right now because we're in the process of this study. We have a resolution, as long as we're after the big year thing, I don't think there's no reason until it.
I mean, it's kind of important for everybody to listen to, so I probably.
All right, we have a question up here and I can't hear. So can we talk about this a little bit so I can hear, please?
So how come the commissioners have enough information to vote on it, but they haven't given you guys enough information for you to feel comfortable voting on it?
That is a great question, and I don't know why the commissioners are comfortable voting on it unless they have the documents, and they may have the documents, but it's not been provided to me. And, once it wasn't provided to me, I did have,
Probably on a need to know.
not to my knowledge, it hasn't. And there is a community member that put in a public records request and has not heard back from the county on the public records request either, and that's been about 2 weeks. So I don't know if it exists.
Thank you.
I don't know, because I've not seen it. Yes?
Sorry, Bethany, but going back to the documents that you put online for this meeting, the commissioners had to provide something to item called the CP, the compliance plan, okay? And that, they should make that available to you. They had to make the plan, they had to give it to item, that's what they need to give you.
I can say, I put the compliance plan up there on the Freedom of Information Act, I requested it in 2023, I think it was 2024. And they sent me 4 pages of what they had in correspondence between the county commissioners and them, I did. That's all that was in that whole thing, was the compliance plan, what they discussed, and the engineer was going to be drafting the plan, that's what they discussed. I checked, I think it was last week, and it got a reply back that there was nothing more happened to it.
Do they have a timeline on their compliance?
There is a compliance letter that's on there that states Indiana code, not Indiana code, might have a timeline, but I did not go that far.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments?
So what do we need to do to support you? If we're not ready to move forward, I assume with the board, which is what you're being asked to vote on, what do you need to support?
Well, I guess I kind of like a consensus from the room of how people would like me to vote. And then I would say beyond that, call the other counselors and show up to the meeting.
So I mean,
I would suggest emailing the county council, your concern. As well as the commissioners.
so right now your vote is either for the board or not, right?
Right, yeah, support it or not support it.
I mean, that's not a real solution, or what solutions are, or what came to this solution. It's for the board or not for the board. I mean, that's the.
That's correct, and that's whether we support it or we don't support it.
Yeah, do you support it?
There's no movement.
Okay, so raise your hand if you want me to support the regional utility district with the information I have at this time. Raise your hand if you don't want me to support it with the information we have at this time. All right. And then, what would you want me to encourage the county to do moving forward? The information, you just want more information.
Isolate the problem.
Look at the one option, we have to correct the issue without forming a regional utility district.
Go after, isolate a lot.
And the bottom dollar on each of us for each of those options.
That way they can provide grant for people that can't afford to put in the system, but are capable of. Give a great person.
Are there any other government officials here that want to say anything? I don't want to, I mean, there's a lot of people here, so I want to make sure everybody gets a voice if they want to say something. Yes?
Could you create some kind of website or something that you can put all this information on one website or somewhere that we can go and see, like, you know, if they get new plans or, you know, where they're getting the money from or any of that stuff to keep, this way it keeps us all informed that we can go to one place and look for this.
And they did ask us to write a letter, the county asked us to write a letter to the state.
Okay.
2 separate letters asking for money. We declined.
Okay.
Is there any way to get any federal grant money?
Yeah, there's a lot of grant money out there. There's a ton of grant money out there.
Let me think about the website, because I don't know the easiest or the best way to do it. Because I have a website that I've been putting out information on, but it's like my personal website. And I don't know if that's more appropriate or more appropriate to use the county website, design a page, or if we just create a website for this issue. So let me think about that.
Because that way, when you get information, what you're working on plans or anything, you can post it, that and everybody can see it without having to, you know, be called, you know, trying to see it, trying to figure out.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't argue. County, everybody knows I can use state. I don't know why they're not sick of it. Show us the money.
Huh?
talk to Ms. Keller.